December 14th. Pandora's Box. Pandora is the name of woman made in heaven. The name means all's gift. After Zeus had wrapped her in a robe of innocence, other gods placed flowers in her hair. Before Pandora left heaven, Zeus made the gods give her a box with a surprise inside. She won't be able to stop herself from looking in the box, Zeus said. It was Apollo who gave Pandora the present from Zeus. The great god sends this box, he said. Then he whispered to her, Pandora, don't ever open it. Oh, I won't if you say not to, she said to Apollo. Pandora was so shy and as good as she could be, but she had one weakness which put a shadow in her eyes. She was curious about everything. Pandora had to look into all she saw. She had to touch this jar and that bottle. Oh, she would exclaim, seeing something new. And she would peer under its cover and breathe deeply of its scent in order to know what it was. One look in the box, perhaps, she said to Venus, smiling her winning smile, just to see what might be inside. No, no, warned Venus. Never look inside the box. Pandora, Zeus made us give it to you. He swore us to a terrible fate if we told you what was inside, Apollo said. All we can do is give you fair warning. Yes, I heed the warning. I will not look, said Pandora. But she thought that somehow she must find a way to see what was inside the box. All of the days she was with Epimetheus, she waited for a time when both he and Prometheus were away. Then she wandered around the making shop. She looked at all the molds for making humans that were now rusting, for humanity was made and doing well on earth. Finally, her eyes rested on the box, high up on the shelf. She climbed the stool and stood on the very tips of her toes, but she could not reach the box. I know, she said. I will put something sturdy on the stool. She climbed up on the chest. Unsteadily, she stood on her toes, peering at the box. Just to bring it down and shake it and listen to it, she murmured to herself. I won't open it. I promised I wouldn't. Oh, oh, cried Pandora, stepping down before she too fell. The lid of the box came off and sailed through the air. The box tumbled. As it did, there was a great jumble of noise. Roars and screams, howls and cries. For a moment the room was dark. What? Oh no, screamed Pandora. For out of the box came awful things, the gifts of Zeus. Winged things and crawling things, slithering things and creeping things, bringing with them a slime of dark and gray despair. Some creatures had pointed ears. Some had flat, furry heads. Some had wicked eyes. Some were fanged, with scaly arms and hands. Some were tiny. Others were giant size. There were plagues of sorrow and pain. There was misery holding its dripping head. Envy took hold of Pandora and tried to tear her hair out. Poverty slid hungrily across the floor and melted into the air. Pandora flung herself at the box. She caught the lid and managed to fit it on. But it was too late. All of the awful things were out of the box. They clambered through the house and on and out into the street, the town, the whole world, it seemed. There was one thing left quivering on the floor. It was a small thing. It must have been on the very bottom of the box. It was not as musty smelling or as damp and horrible as the rest had been. To Pandora, its scent was quite sweet. You're not a bad one, I can tell, she said to it. You're hurt, aren't you? She asked, swallowing her fear. It didn't answer, so sick it seemed. "Here, let me help you," she said. Pandora took hold of the thing by its wings. It felt warm, trembling. She could see its great heart swell and sink in its chest. It sat up and rested against her. "There, there," soothed Pandora. "That's better. Now tell me, who are you?" "Ah," sighed the thing, "I must go." It rose weakly to its crooked feet. "No, don't go," Pandora pleaded. "I need company. It is so lonely here. If I do not go, what will become of humans without me?" "But who are you?" Pandora asked. The thing smiled a wan smile. It seemed to gather strength within. Its brightly colored wings unfolded, bringing a fresh breeze. "I am Hope," it said. "If I do not hurry, humans will have so little reason to live." With one great leap, Hope sprang from the room, from the house, and into the world. Pandora stood at the door holding the empty box from Zeus in her hands. She saw Hope gather light around it, brightening the day. The first thing that jumped out at me as I was reading through this is the fact that curiosity is described as Pandora's greatest weakness or greatest flaw. She was curious about everything. She had to look into everything she saw. She had to touch this jar and that bottle. She had to peer under the covers and take a whiff and get a sense of what things were and how they worked. And I don't particularly see this as a flaw, but I can certainly see how it can get somebody into trouble, and maybe that's more the lesson here in this myth. Very interesting stuff, as always. And as always, I hope you will share your insights with me in the comments below. And I hope you'll tune in tomorrow for the next reading in the Tao of Jesus. Stay centered, my friends.